in every case scenario, I think we need to ask ourselves, is this in service to knowing thyself or in service to hiding thyself from oneself? Now, so often I believe we do things to, hide the hard truths and to, avoid the silence that we so often need. I heard from Chris Williamson, the answers that you are looking for are in the silence that you are avoiding. And I see that to be true with so many people in this day and age who, can't go a car ride without music, without a podcast, who can't, just go in the woods and go on a hike all day without anything. There's just, you see it in the grocery stores. What grocery store doesn't have some music playing in the background? Now, there's nothing wrong with music. There's nothing wrong with podcast. There's nothing wrong with these things, but it's everything in moderation. And even a good thing at the wrong time is a bad thing. And when you never give yourself time to think, when you never give yourself time to immerse yourself in that silence to find the answers that you so desperately need, then I think you lose a part of yourself and you walk a life more asleep than awake. Now, I think this is obvious and clear to see with drugs. I think there are some drugs that are meant to hide oneself from oneself. And there are other drugs meant to show oneself to oneself. But anything in excess will just hide yourself from yourself. And then there's also drugs that just hide yourself even in moderation. And I mean, in this day and age, I think it's clear and obvious to say that there is a problem with that. And so many people seek these, either, drugs or, entertainment in service to hiding from the truth that they don't want to admit, hiding from the things that haunt them in silence, hiding from the still small voice, telling them to do something that is uncomfortable, that is scary, that is different. So they do these things to hide. They do these things to not do the uncomfortable work of knowing thyself. And, that is the, timeless, age-old wisdom of philosophy, if you will. I mean, that's like Socrates is almost the beginning of philosophy. And that's Socrates' whole thing, knowing thyself. And constantly saying, the unexamined life is not worth living. And how many people in this day and age live an examined life who, upon waking and sleeping, reflect and ask, what today can I do that will enlarge me instead of diminish me? No, I don't think not anyone, but I think most people are not trying to know themselves, and they're actually doing the opposite, and they're trying to hide from themselves because they don't want to do the uncomfortable work. People are tired, people are exhausted, people have tried time and time again and have fallen short. And this can be exhausting, and it is not easy work to do these things. So I'm not sitting here trying to criticize anybody or judge, but I think it's a good awareness and good knowledge to have of either what you yourself are avoiding, or that you feel discomfort because you are trying to grow, because you are doing these hard things that you don't see anyone else in discomfort. And that could be for many reasons, but I think one of the main reasons is that they're not doing the uncomfortable work that you're doing. they are prolonging it to a future where the work will no longer be able to have time to become fruitful. And what else is that but a midlife crisis? So just don't think that it's, the discomfort's bad. I mean, how else do you think you will grow? Growing pains happen to the body. Why would growing pains not happen to the mind and to the soul and to the spirit that is trying to become more than that which it is? And when you're on a path, when you're on a journey seeking things of this nature, I think it's paramount and essential to ask yourself, is this hiding me from myself, this action, or is this action showing me to myself? Is it helping me walk a path truer to myself, or is it making it harder to stay true to myself, to do the things that I know I should be doing, to have the conversations I know I should be having? Because as I said, in this day and age, there are so many things to hide you from yourself. There is, as I stated, just entertainment is just, I heard Tony Robbins say, everyone says we're in the information age, but he said, he doesn't think that. We think we're in the entertainment age. And ever since he said that, I agree with him, and I think about it every time I think about the information age. I'm like, oh no, we're in the entertainment age. And how clear is that? I mean, even, even like with my channel, for instance, there's other channels, who talk about similar things, but put it in a different format, flashy edits with, good animation and, good thumbnails and things of that nature. And that is just not my style. And I think it goes to show with, how many views and how many subscribers I have, that, those other people do far better than I do because of the entertainment they provide. But that is simply not my style, and that is simply not something I want to do, at least at this point in my life. But I do agree we're in the entertainment age and not the information age. And maybe to get my information through, I should do those things, but I think it just goes to show. And there is people who do, things like this, who do get, a following or whatever. But that's beside the point. I just think it's clear that nowadays we're in the entertainment age. And what else is entertainment than, unplugging from life in a way? And I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with entertainment in and of itself. There's some, good entertainment. Like last night I watched Into the Wild, and I think that is a good movie. And I think I got good life lessons, and I think I've learned from that. I believe that was good entertainment. But there's other entertainment that's just mindless, mind-numbing, no lessons, no nothing. And even that stuff has a time and place, because sometimes, your brain's just fried. You spend a whole day, reading, writing, doing hard tasks mentally, whatever, with your job or anything. And then, there's nothing wrong with unplugging for the last, little bit of your day. But as I said, everything in moderation. And, not everything is supposed to be in service to, productivity and stuff, but to be more productive in your journey, unplugging for a little bit every day, I think is a good thing. But obviously choose the right things to unplug with, because even when you unplug, you are still consuming that information and consuming maybe the habits or, whatever. There's good mindless, entertainment, and there's bad mindless entertainment. And I don't think I need to sit here and say which is which. I think deep down, each of us knows what is diminishing us, what is enlarging us, and what is just in service to helping us keep going for a prolonged period of time so we don't burn out. But I think you get the point, and I hope you ask yourself the question, is this enlarging me? No. Is this hiding me from myself, or is this showing me to myself?